In this lecture, we are going to discuss different aspects of the human papilloma virus HPV, like transmission, pathogenesis, clinical finding, treatment, prevention, and many more. So let's get started. First of all, we will look at the transmission of the HPV, how HPV virus transmit from one person to another. So most important is the skin to skin contact, because HPV is actually involved in the formation of the papilloma, or you can say warts, and second is the carcinoma. So in the warts case, you can see this skin to skin contact can be the source of transmission of HPV. Okay, the first one is the skin to skin contact, skin to skin contact, okay, through the warts, or you can say papilloma. Next is the sex. Through the sex, the HPV can be transmitted from one person to another. And in that case, you will see the genital warts in both case, male and female. So it means that HPV transmit through the sex, and it is actually lie in the sexual transmitted disease. But important thing which we have to remember, that certain types of the HPV actually cause the genital warts. Okay. Next is the transmission of the HPV from the mother to the baby during the time of delivery. Okay. So as we know that when the baby passed through the vagina, during that time, the HPV can be transmitted from the female genital tract into the mouth of her baby. And as a result, you will see the formation of the warts or the papilloma in the mouth of the baby. In the mouth, or that can be formed in the respiratory tract. So most importantly, you can see the laryngeal papilloma in case of baby. So baby will be affected by the laryngeal papilloma, formations of the papilloma or warts in the larynx. Okay. Next, if we look at the pathogenesis, so we will categorize the pathogenesis of the HPV into two: non-malignant and the malignant. So first one is the non-malignant, and second is the malignant. So as we know that the squamous epithelial cells affected by the HPV, okay, and the infection start at the basement membrane. Basal cell will be, first of all, basal cell will be affected by the HPV. So if you see here, here is the squamous epithelial cells. So at the basal sides, you can see the basal cells. So infection starts in the basal cell and it will move upward. Okay. So in the non-malignant case, the HPV replication start in the basal cell and it will move upward. And after that, you will see the release of lot of the HPV virus. Okay. But in case of malignant case, there is no release of virus. Instead, the squamous epithelial cell will start converting into the malignant cell. But in that case, there is no release of virus. So it means that non-malignant case is the source of transmission of HPV, but the malignant is not the source of transmission of HPV. So here is basically the difference between the non-malignant and the malignant case. Okay, that mostly happen in the warts, or you can say papilloma. Okay, next, the most important finding in the biopsy, you can see the biopsy of the lesions. The most important cell seen in the biopsy is the koilocytes. Okay, most important cells is the koilocytes. Okay, in the koilocytes you will see the at the center you will see the condensed nucleus. Okay, and at the periphery you will see the vacuole. Okay, here is the cavity or the vacuole, and after that you will see the cytoplasm. So it means that this cavity or vacuole is actually called the perinuclear cytoplasmic vacuole. What does it mean? Perinuclear nuclear cytoplasmic vacuole. It means that this vacuole actually surround the nucleus, so that's why we called it perinuclear cytoplasmic vacuole, and that koilocyte will be seen in the biopsy of the lesion, okay, of the that is actually affected by the HPV. Okay, so if we look at the clinical finding, so first of all, the clinical finding is the most important thing in the diagnosis of the HPV. Okay, so first of all, you will see the skin. When the skin is affected by the HPV, then you will see the skin warts, or you can say skin papilloma. Okay, and the plantar can also be affected, means the papilloma can be formed beneath the foot. Okay, so what type of HPV actually cause the skin warts or the skin papilloma? So HPV 1 to HPV 4 actually cause the uh, skin warts. Okay, next is the genital warts. Okay, next is the genital warts. So in that case, in the genital warts, which is also known as the condylomata acuminata, condylomata acuminata, acuminata. In that case, you will see the genital tract of the male and female will be affected by the genital HPV. So in that case, you will see the HPV 6 and the HPV 11 are actually involved in the cause of genital warts, which is also known as condylomata acuminata. So genital warts in case of female and in case of male. They can also cause the formation of the warts on the larynx, because as we know that it is actually genital warts. When the baby passes through the female genitalia, then in that case HPV will transmit into the mouth of the baby and result in the laryngeal papilloma. So same type of virus can cause the papilloma, laryngeal papilloma. Okay, next is the pre-malignant and the malignant case. Okay, so pre-malignant lesions, or you can say malignant, which is also known as carcinoma. So here are basically the two things. Pre-malignant means before the cancer, and the malignant, that is actually the cancer. So we will categorize into the two. If I write it here, so pre-malignant and the malignant. Pre-malignant case also called the intraepithelial neoplasia. Pre-malignant also called intraepithelial neoplasia. Okay, that's the most important. And the malignant is actually called the carcinoma. So basically pre-malignant before the cancer, which is intraepithelial neoplasia, and malignant means carcinoma. But important thing which you have to remember, that if the penis is affected by the HPV, then it will be the penile intraepithelial neoplasia. If the penis is affected, then it will be called the penile intraepithelial neoplasia. If the cervix is affected, then it will be called the cervical intraepithelial neoplasia. Okay, that's the most important thing. And important thing, two type of cancer, cervical cancer and the penile cancer. Another cancer can be happens by this virus, and that is the anus. Okay, here are basically the three things: cervix, penis and the anus. So what type of virus actually involved in this cancer? That is the HPV 16 and the HPV 18 are actually involved in this cancer. Okay, so hope so you got the point between the malignant and the pre-malignant case. Okay, next is the lab diagnosis. The mostly HPV infection is actually diagnosed clinically. You will see the warts, dry, raised, verrucous warts seen on the skin or on the genital warts. Okay, and you can also diagnose with the help of the biopsy of the lesions, and in the lesions you will see the koilocytes. Koilocytes are the most important things or the cells seen in the biopsy. And you can also go towards the PCR, in which you will see the replications of the DNA, because HPV is actually a DNA virus. Okay. Next is the treatment. So in the treatment, if you want to treat the skin warts, then that will be treated by the liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen. Okay. But if you want to treat the plantar H plantar warts, then that will be treated by the salicylic topical salicylic acid. Okay. And if you want to treat the genital warts, then that will be treated by the imiquimod, or you can say podophyllin. Podophyllin. But just keep one thing in your mind, these treatment can be vary according to the location of the word. Okay, this is actually general treatment. Okay. Next is the prevention. So most important vaccine, that is the Gardasil 9. Gardasil Gardasil 9 is the most important vaccine, and it is against the 9 important types of the HPV, in which you will see the human papilloma 6 to 11, 16 to 18 that are actually involved in the cancer, and 31, 33, 45, and the 52 and the 58. Here are basically the 9 different types of the HPV, and this vaccine Gardasil 9 is against these 9 types of the HPV. And last most important prevention of the HPV infection is the circumcision. Circumcision reduces the risk of the HPV infection. So this is all about the HPV. If you still have any question, you may ask in the comment section. Thank you so much.